Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Mike Zuber with One Rental at a Time, and we are with Laura Morby this fine Sunday morning. How you doing, Laura?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. If you haven't heard already, we have a new addition to the family. This is Happy. She is about 8.5 week old Shih Tzu, and you may hear her occasionally make some sounds because she's kind of chatty. She's telling all the YouTube watchers to hit the thumbs up. That's what she's saying.
So cute.
So I'm going to hold her up here and see how this goes.
Okay, yeah, that's a good spot.
She's a whopping 2 pounds, so.
Yeah, she's tiny. She's
Yeah.
so cute.
Thank you for that. Hey, one of the things I want to talk about, we talked about 2 weeks ago, might have been 3, was the real estate slowdown. It was actually a video of yours and mine that got lots of views, so people are interested. So I thought we should follow up. How is the real estate slowdown treating Phoenix or Arizona? What's going on?
It is unfortunately still happening.
Okay.
And I thought it would have been over by now. But I'm hoping since college kids are going back that maybe it was just dragging on a little bit and it's going to get better in the next couple of weeks. But a lot of our listings are sitting there. And it's all price points. So it's $145,000 list price, which should fly off the shelves.
Yep.
And it's all the way up to, $899,000. They're all sitting there.
Interesting.
And the thing that I have noticed is they're not crawling with people. The showings are minimal.
So everything is backed off.
Everything. Yeah. So it's like, I keep telling myself and telling the sellers, like, we don't need 2,000 people to look at the house. We just need that one buyer. But it is hard because the buyers still have the mindset that something's wrong with the house. So for instance, as soon as it's been on the market for 48 hours, I have buyer's agents calling me saying, hey, what's wrong with your house? And I'm like, nothing. It's just what's happening right now. And, I'm explaining, people are doing last minute summer vacations and people are getting back into the routine of going back to school. It always slows down at this time of year, but not every agent has listings. And so they experience that. So all they're used to is what was happening in June and July. And that is, what's wrong with your house? It should have already sold in 24 hours. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with us. So it's unfortunate.
It's interesting. I'm talking to obviously people across the country, and what I've sort of adopted is August is not April. And that plays with all folks, right? That buyers, right? Sellers, agents. And I love the fact that you brought it up. I had not thought about that, right? Agents who only represent buyers, perhaps they don't know that listings are sitting and open houses are down. And, just everybody still thinks it's April. And folks, a housing slowdown is occurring. It's not April, it's August. I still think, and maybe tell me if I'm wrong, it still feels like we're in a seller's market, but it's getting a lot closer to balanced. But maybe not in Phoenix. Maybe you're seeing it's like, buyers have the upper hand now. I don't know. What do you think?
I think, obviously I can only speak for the sellers that I'm working with. And I do feel as though there's a little bit of denial from one of my sellers who's still pushing the values and hoping for, just the perfect scenario. But most of the sellers are like, it's good enough, just take it. Let's move on. And so in that case, then yes, it is turning into a buyer's market. Because if we get an offer and we're like not countering anything, we'll take whatever you give us, then that is by definition a buyer's market. And so I don't know. It's really strange. I don't want to necessarily say that it's for sure a buyer's market because I'm still hopeful that once college kids are back, that things go a little bit back to normal. But then again, it's going to be better for my buyers too. So it's kind of like I'm caught in between, but it is hard because we have been making decisions on our flips that are based on what we were seeing a couple months ago, when we first bought them, when we first, put our budget into process and like what we're going to actually be doing with this house. And it's hard because I have a few ones that are really special that the seller would have gotten their return on what they put into the house. Like for instance, I have a seller who's been doing the backyards like usually a home flipper doesn't even touch the backyard.
No.
And then like a quick cleanup.
Yeah.
And I have this listing that has a full garden back there. They've got this beautiful handmade picnic table. They've got shade sails. All of the back fence has been done in corrugated metal. Like it's beautiful. It's got string lights. Like we're talking like a whole backyard experience. You know, you could move in and have a party tomorrow.
Wow.
And a couple months ago, that investment would have paid off, and now it's probably not going to, and it's sad because that is quite an expense to have created that.
Sure.
It was just something that they hoped would set them apart from other listings, which it does, but are they going to get the money for it? No.
Yeah.
And is an appraiser going to give them money for their garden? No. So,
No.
and they knew that. They were just like, oh, we'll get a cash offer in 24 hours, you know?
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah, the housing slowdown is real. I mean, have you, again, you may not have looked at this, but just a gut feel, how much have listings gone up in a month? Like 10%, 20% more?
I've been looking at numbers in the areas where I have listings, and
Fair
it's
enough.
anywhere from 10 to almost 50. Like it's doubled, like our supply has doubled. And that's scary too, because then that means also like, of course, we're going to sit because
Yeah.
And it's funny too, there just isn't that many buyers that are actively playing the game. And that shows us with how many showings we're getting. You know, like a lot of people have left. A lot of people have signed leases. A lot of people have decided to move to a different state. A lot of people have, you know, like you have to go somewhere. So those people who are looking in April, who got in May and June and July, who got a really nasty taste in their mouth, those people, not everyone is just like, well, I own a house and I can sell whenever I want. Some of them already did sell. Some of them had to go sign up for a rental. Some of them had to move into an apartment. Like people had to make decisions that now takes them out of the buying game for a year. So, yeah.
So inventory's up, and so supply's up, demand is down, right? One of the stats I remember from our conversation is you had 15 active buyers down to 2. I remember that last time. So that means that it's, you know, maybe very soon, if not today, we're in a buyer's market, right? You're already not countering, which is interesting. Again, sellers probably still remember April and they're going to get the perfect price. So agents have to have hard conversations with sellers today, I'm thinking.
Yeah, 100%. And it's going to be hard to convince new buyers to want to get into this because they've heard horror stories or they haven't experienced horror stories, and it's going to be hard to be like, hey, and then what if it all of a sudden turns around again to once college kids and it goes back to normal, and then you're like, hey, actually, sorry.
Missed the window. It was that big.
Really small, and you didn't jump fast enough, because that's the other hard thing is when you take out a buyer, they don't want to buy their first go out. And it's like, it's so funny that they don't want to do that, because it's like, we're looking at the cream of the crop. We didn't pick your B squad houses, we picked your A squad houses. So if you like one, like this is actually good, you want to go out again, we're going to be looking at your second choice. But buyers don't get that. So but it usually takes a new buyer a couple weeks to want to like put in an offer and commit. And so if it is a small window, it's going to be hard to get someone to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I guess the one thing for me, again, I've been doing this a long time, as of you, it's amazing how much the media talk track can sway buyers and sellers. So I'm curious what the media is in Phoenix, right? I know 2 or 3 months ago, it was Phoenix is hot. It's the #1 appreciating market. It's the #1 in migration market. So everything was rosy. Has the talk track reversed yet? Or is that still to come, where Phoenix on sale, nobody's buying, inventory's exploding? What's going on?
To be honest, I try my hardest.
Okay, that's probably healthy.
And that drives my parents absolutely wild. And they're like, how can you do that? And I'm like, unless like a freeway is flooded, I just don't look. But I do pay attention to what lenders and other realtors are talking about in currently, like, because that's what they all do. They post stats and like articles and stuff. So a lot of them are saying Phoenix is still #1 for appreciations. Phoenix is still #1 for growth. Phoenix has, you know, this happening in Casa Grande, and this tech company just committed to this. And like, it's still a perfect time to buy, and look at our interest rates and look at this and look at your purchasing power. And like, there is still this big push to get people to buy.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming that they're pushing so hard for that because they've noticed that their pool.
They're talking their book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's exactly what's going on. When I see real estate agents do that, it means they have listings that are aging. They're, I guess. So let's go back to 2019, if you can remember that far back. What was the average days on market? Do you like for one of your like 40 days, maybe?
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, about 40-ish, right?
Yes.
We got as low as 6 or 7, maybe,
Mhm.
like maybe April, or like I talk about April, August.
Yeah.
Okay, so 40 to let's say 7.
Mhm.
And now we're back to what, 15 or 20?
Yeah, we're not quite 30 yet, but yeah, about 20. Yeah.
Yeah, so we go from we're going from 30 miles an hour to 100 back to 45, so again, we're still slowing, but yeah, it'll be interesting, right? As it gets so slow that Phoenix sees a price drop.
I know.
Yeah. What do you think? You got any guts on that? You ever think it gets that slow and there's actually a price drop in Phoenix?
Oh my gosh, this whole year is if I only had a crystal ball.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm hopeful just because I feel for the flips that are going on right now.
Okay.
I'm hopeful it goes a little bit back to how it was, just to finish out the year before Halloween comes around, because Halloween's another slowdown, but we all know it's coming. I hope just for a little bit, just to get those off the books.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, then yes, we are definitely, because I have sellers who are in the process of either lowering currently, like on Friday, we took another haircut and we're going to do it again. Or, hey, if we're on for 2 weeks, like we got to go, like we got to lower, we got to figure it out. And there's a few that like the margins are just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's like, if we sell right now at this price, we'll get 12, but also we don't want to hold on to it and have more payments and more, because then that eats into your profit too. So it's like, it's just better just to take a haircut and move on and maybe break even or lose money.
Yeah. Lose a little versus. Yeah. That was a big mistake I saw lots of flippers make in 08. I knew I had a guy that was doing $1 million flips in the Bay Area, which sounds impressive, but it's not when an entry level home is $1 million, right? So don't be too impressed. But when you have hard money payments or private money payments on millions of dollars, that's a big monthly nut to go out, and it adds up. So
yes,
very interesting.
Yes.
So if anybody's looking to buy or sell in Phoenix and they want to reach out to an agent in the top 1%, how should they do that, Laura?
You can email me, LauraMorby@iCloud.com, text me 480-717-2070, or Instagram, Laura Morby, no spaces.
Yeah, do yourself a favor, follow her at a minimum on Instagram if you just want to smile every day. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.